Welcome back to the Hook Road Studio. I'm Jason Horsler, and this is the third video in a series of videos I'm putting together for my drum pupils, for the members of Drummer Club, and for anybody else who would just like some new ideas to practice on the pad or the drums. The title of this video is 800 Things You Can Do to Drag Paradiddle Number 1. In actual fact, there's a lot more than 800. Once you start really exploring the concepts I'm going to show you in this lesson, you'll find out that the number goes over the thousands. And what we are talking about today is something which I call creative filters. A creative filter is a concept which you apply to a beat or a rudiment or a chop or a fill or any pattern you can play to alter it and make new patterns. So the filters I'm going to use today are simplification, ornamentation, permutation, swing, extension, alteration, and even reversal. I'm not going to do dynamics. That's another filter. Once you start playing with dynamics, the numbers of variations you can get with the pattern go through the roof, and it's just beyond the scope of this 10-minute video lesson that I'm putting together here, so I'll let you explore that by yourself. First of all, to show you what the filters are, let's get cracking, and you'll see, you'll get it straight away. So first of all, we're going to play the drag paradiddle the way it's supposed to be played. Pretty straightforward thing. Now, simplification is the first filter I'm going to apply. And what simplification means is we're going to take out any ornaments that are in the rudiment. So we're going to take out the drag, which will leave us with a thing called the check pattern. A very useful way of getting your head into a rudiment or chop is to simplify it and just learn to play the check pattern. But the other reason why you should do this is, in actual fact, a simplified pattern can be very musical. It's not so busy, and so it can fit in with music a little bit better in some cases. So here we go. You can also play them faster without the drags in the way. The next filter is ornamentation. So when I think of musical ornaments, when I'm thinking of drums, I'm thinking of flams, drags, and a quick diddle, that you can replace something in the groove or in the beat with one of those three ornaments. So in the drag paradiddle, we already have a drag. Let's replace it with a flam. Let's replace the first note of the paradiddle, get rid of the drag, replace the first note of the paradiddle with a quick diddle. And you can see that those results are very similar to the kinds of things I spoke about in my earlier video, but we're going to move further than that today, you'll see. The next filter I'm going to push the drag paradiddle through is the permutation filter. Now, permutation, for those of you who don't know what it basically means starting a beat or a fill or a pattern on a different note. So for example, if we had the paradiddle, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, we could start on the second note of the paradiddle, which is a left, and then play it through, and you'll get left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, which many people call an inverted paradiddle. If you push it over the starting point over by one extra 16th note, you'll get a mill, which starts with a double right. Right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left. In your standard paradiddle, there are 8 notes, so 8 possible positions for starting. On a drag paradiddle, there are 10 notes, so 10 possible starting positions. I'm going to apply 2 filters. I'm going to apply the simplification filter and the permutation filter, and I'm going to start my drag paradiddle on the paradiddle part. So I'll get something like this. Let's put a flam in there. Let's put a diddle in there. You could start somewhere else. I'm going to start on the diddle of the paradiddle, so that will be you can hear that once you get that pattern looping, it's hard to find where the 1 is. So I'm going to play a bit of a drum beat to really establish where the 1 is, and then I'll use this permutated, simplified version of the drag paradiddle as a fill. Yeah, and obviously you could put a drag in there or something. Then we move on to the next filter, which is the filter that every drummer should know about, which I call the swing filter. And it's a two-way filter, so basically if you have something swung, you should be able to straighten it, and if you have something straight, you should be able to swing it. It really don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. So what we're going to do is try and swing the drag paradiddle. Once again, I'll start by just playing it without the drag, and I'll just play it like this. To create a contrast between straight and swung, I'll play it straight first and then switch over to swung. And so you can stack up these filters and try all sorts of combinations of them against the drag paradiddle, and you get loads and loads of varieties. The swing filter works particularly well with all the rudiments because you can turn them into great jazz fills. So do give it a try. Then we move on to the next filter, which I call Alteration. And this is where we move a little bit further away from the drag paradiddle, and what we're going to do is actually change the sticking of the original rudiment. So you're actually allowed to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to take the paradiddle part of the drag paradiddle and just permutate the paradiddle part. So what we'll do is we'll play a mill. So you could call this a drag mill number 1. So that will sound like this. And you could of course use all the other filters with that. You can swing it, you could... The only one you can't use actually is diddle it. We spoke about that earlier in one of the other videos. Diddling a mill is not going to be very easy. You could do it, but it won't sound that great. Let's do an inverted paradiddle, so that's going to be right, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, right, left. So I started doing other things to it. But you can really start shoving these in and become creative with it and see what you can do, swing it and that kind of thing. You can permutate it even further. You can get one where, you know, if you permutate a paradiddle one step further than the mill, you get a pattern that goes right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right. So I just call that the permutated paradiddle. So I'm going to play a permutated paradiddle as a drag paradiddle. First simple, and then I'll add the drag. Anyway, you can have some fun with that. Now, the last thing we can do with alteration is also swap little sections of the rudiment around. So for example, the drag paradiddle goes right, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, left. Let's take those two paradiddle sections and swap them around. So we go right, left, right, left, left. And what you'll find is then you'll have 3 lefts in a row, which could be clumsy. I'll give it a try just to show you what I mean. So you're going to go right, left, right, left, 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 right, left, right, right, right. And playing 3 rights or 3 lefts is not a problem, especially if you spend some time practicing in stick control, which I highly recommend. But it is still a bit of a clumsy pattern, and you can get some great results when you get to this kind of thing, playing instead of hand to hand, playing from one side only. So I'm just going to go right, left, left, and that's going to be my whole pattern. Just keep repeating that. And if I play on a different sound surface, you'll see my right hand becomes a constant quarter note. So you can imagine that being thrown out onto the tom-toms, or even played as a ride pattern, and all those little left-hand strokes could be ghost notes with an accent every second repeat, and you can turn that into quite a nifty little drum beat. And you should be able to do it from the other side too. So when you're permutating a pattern that has 10 notes and you pass it through all the various filters and different combinations, by my calculation, and I'm probably wrong because it's probably more, I came up with 152. So already with just the mill, inverted, permutated and regular one, that's 4 times 152 patterns. Then with the swapped paradiddle part is another 152. If you play it as a 10 note pattern, which we said was clumsy, or if you play it all from one side or all from the other side, you get 78 and 78. But I think it's more than that. And then the next filter is called extension. And extension is where you start changing the time signature of the pattern. So drag paradiddle is in 3/4 time. What I mean by extension is you start adding extra notes to it. And it's a very simple concept. We'll take the drag paradiddle and we will change the paradiddle part into a paradiddle diddle part. So we're adding 2 extra strokes. So it will sound like this. And of course then you can do all the other things to it. Let's put a drag in there. Swing it, diddle it, drag it, flam it, cheese it, charles it, do all sorts of things to it. And you could do the one from the left side as well. With double paradiddle, there's another extension you could apply. So that's right, right, left, right, left, right, right. Now that pattern has got 14 notes for permutation, and so by my count that gives me about 216, I guess 216 variations if you start stacking up different filters and try stuff out with that one. The last filter you can apply to a drag paradiddle is quite a challenge to get right, and that is playing it backwards. You can play everything you've ever learnt on the drums and try and play it backwards. The other day I was playing Gavin Harrison's The Sound of Music from Porcupine Tree backwards, and it was astonishing the results that you get. I was teaching a pupil to play When the Levee Breaks backwards as well, and it sounds nothing like the original. And a couple of months ago we were also working through Tommy Igoe's Groove Essentials, and we were playing some of the sambas backwards. Now what you've got to do is, when you play something backwards, you may need to do some permutation just to make it sound musical, because most drum beats end on a weak note, just on a hi-hat. So if you play backwards, bar by bar backwards, it's going to sound very odd. It won't really fit in with what your guitarist wants. But if you find a strong note and then play backwards from that strong note, then you should get a good result. So let's give this a try. I'm going to play the drag paradiddle backwards, but I'm going to start on the strong right note. And I won't play a drag at first, I'll just play a simplified version, so it'll be like this. The tricky bit is you should also try and play your ornaments backwards. So a backwards flam, so forward it sounds like this, backwards it sounds like this. And a forwards drag is, but backwards it's. So I'm going to give it a try, let's see if I can do it. And that's a backwards drag paradiddle number 1. And then of course you can permutate that and swing it and do all sorts of things to it too. And you can take everything you've done and try and play every single one of the variations that we've come up with today backwards. And some of them will be very successful and others of them will sound like a dog's breakfast. But it's up to you to experiment and see what works for you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.